Hello witches, and welcome back to A Coven of Two, where we discuss witchcraft and activism. You can call me Isha, my pronouns are she, they, and this is the 8th day of Yule. And on the 8th day of Yule, Ivy Corvus gave to us talk about the spirits of Yule, who do you work with? But before we get started, let me mention that I've opened a Ko-fi, which is basically an alternative to Patreon that takes less from creators. And on there you can do a one-off donation or a monthly subscription donation to support the work that I do here. And you can also get tarot readings, donate what you can from £5 onwards, and you can get a tarot reading with me, Italian style. So if you would like to support what I do here, you can head on to Ko-fi, and if you do so, thank you so much. Here's the issue. I've mentioned before, I am not the best witch when it comes to energy sensing, spirit talking. I do things, I hope for the best. So that being said, I really hope that in the future my practice will take me in a place where I have more clarity of not only what I'm doing, but who am I doing it with, and receive clearer, more indubitable kind of communication from non-corporeal beings and energies. It's not that easy currently for me, but I hope it will be. So what I can tell you about is that winter, for me, is actually a time where I naturally think and remember my grandparents and the things that I remember about them. I don't know why I don't think as much of habits that they had during summer, but definitely during winter. So something that is seasonal, and I remember my grandmother having, were persimmons. Persimmons? Cachi in Italian. We had a tree of persimmons in our garden. So I remember around October, November, my grandmother just having one, cutting it and eating it with a spoon. And when I start to see them around, especially in the local supermarket, I usually get one and I clean it and I present it in a dish with a spoon, with a little spoon, in front of my grandmother picture, and I leave it there for like a day so that she can have her persimmon. And more recently, I was doing the tarot workshop that Raven and I have done here in Cardiff, which, by the way, we're looking to do more. So if you're interested, leave me a comment or send me an email. Super easy, coven@acovenof2.co.uk. And we're trying to see if we can do more, if there's the interest, so let me know. And during the workshop, somebody peeled and ate an orange. And you know how smells have the ability of unlocking memories much, much more than just thinking of things, because smells you don't control. Something gets to your nostrils and the synapses go, and suddenly you're taken back when you're 3-4 years old, when you last smelled that smell. And the orange was that for me, and I suddenly was taken back. And so I remember both of my grandparents actually peeling an orange and then divide it, and then the peel would actually go on top of a heater so that the entire house would smell nice with the scent of orange. And so recently I found a bag of oranges in my local supermarket. Neither myself nor Raven eat oranges. Too many bits, sensory issue. But despite that, I got the bag so that I could peel the orange, and surprisingly, I don't think I've ever peeled an orange, but I've only seen my grandparents do it, and so I had a weird muscle memory from that. That was also beautiful. And I peeled the orange and I put the peel on the heater, and this smell of childhood being around them came back running, and I divided the orange in wedges and put it again in these ritual plates that I use just for offerings for the altars, and I put it in front of the pictures of my grandparents so that they could have the orange. And I left it there a day, and then I moved it aside. So I don't necessarily work with specific winter spirits, but winter reminds me of them a lot. My grandmother was born in late autumn, and both of them actually passed in winter. Like 3 or 4 days difference over a span of 3 years. But yeah, they both died in late January, early February. So that's gonna be an interesting Imbolc. But honestly, I said before, there's a very bizarre feeling that I've always had about both my grandfather and my grandmother, because they raised me. Like, they were really my parents, not just my grandparents. Every time that I dream about them, I don't dream about them often, but when I dream about them, I never have the feeling that they have been gone. You know, one would think that in a dream, I haven't seen you in 20 years and I would have this, you know, impactful moment of, oh my God, yes, finally I can see you again. It never feels like that. It always feels like, yeah, I've been seeing you in a while, but of course you're around. So I'd like to think that the part of our brains that work in our dreams and maybe access the astral plane through it. I can't lucid dream or anything, so that's also a limit of mine. But yeah, it makes me hope that maybe that's because my higher self knows that they are around, and so maybe in time I can learn to speak more directly with them too. At least I hope. I hope this was useful, and I will definitely see you tomorrow for the 9th day of Yule, which is all about glamours. I don't necessarily do much glamour magic, but I do a lot of maintenance. So probably we're gonna talk about that tomorrow, so come back for that. And until then, I hope that we can axe the patriarchy together, because there's need for it!